Welcome to a special edition of Sports Jam. I'm John Jacobson.
I'm Jay Wilcox. With the spring sports season about to get underway, we are taking time this week to take a look back at some of our favorite Sports Jam spotlight stories from the winter season. The Osseo wrestling program has a great history with many state champions and future college and even Olympic standouts. Back in December, we met an Orioles senior who is in some impressive company.
He's making a name for himself in a program with a very rich history. Osseo's Adam Hammer entered his senior season with 150 career wins, meaning he's on track to easily break Pat Smith's school record of 165.
I was hoping to get that when I started. That was one of my goals, and to be put on a list of names with those Darren Drugmullers and Dave Drugmullers and Kelly McConville and Pat Smith and just all those guys that have had this massive history behind this program. If I was to get to the top, I couldn't imagine the feeling to be even thought of in those names. And
He's going for a pin. Dill's got 15 seconds, and it's not going to happen.
Adam's already the Orioles record holder in pins, entering the season with 112. It's his goal whenever he steps on the mat.
My style. I scramble a lot, but I like to be a pinner. I think I've kind of established that with myself, and I always look for that, and it's kind of something I take pride in, that I can always help out the team in a big way by getting 6 points instead of 3 points, or if I come back from a match and get 6 points instead of losing by 3 or whatever. So I like to take pride in that, and I think I could be called a pinner, hopefully.
Records are nice, but for Adam, there's really only one main goal this year: winning a state championship. He placed 4th last season and is rated number 3 at 145 pounds to start this season.
That's top priority. You know, it doesn't matter really wins and losses for me this year. I'm going to get the best experience I can between who I wrestle. So yeah, I mean, I've gotten enough wins. That doesn't really mean much to me anymore. Right now it's just looking at that championship and what I got to do to get there. So I'm going to do everything I can.
Besides being Osseo's best wrestler, Hammer's also a tremendous leader.
Adam's he's a 1 in a million kid, you know, just all around. He's got the top GPA on the team, tied last year for the top GPA on the team. So anything you ask him to do, off season, during the season, I need anything organized, he just takes care of it. He just knows what's going on. He's been on varsity since 7th grade, and just an ideal role model for the team.
Adam's probably the best teammate I have. I play with him baseball, football, wrestling, and he's a great wrestler, so he's a good captain too, on and off the field, on and off the mat too.
I feel like I'm a pretty strong leader, but I'm not verbal. I lead by example, I like to say. I just kind of do what I'm supposed to, you know, and if somebody gets out of line, you can give them a little bit of a talk, but it's, you know, it's just doing what you're supposed to, and they see what you're doing, and they kind of follow the way you're doing it. So I feel like I take that very seriously.
Oh, a great play as Hammer comes up and gets the tackle for loss.
Even at 5'4", Adam stood out on the football field this fall for the Orioles as a sure tackling linebacker.
To be the smallest kid on the field, I don't, you know, it seems, I know that I am, but at the same time it doesn't seem like it. And actually wrestling is a big part of that. You know, I wouldn't tackle the same I do if I didn't wrestle.
They talk about heart a lot of times. It's kind of a cliche, but he actually really epitomizes what heart it's all about. The kid's not very big, but he really knows how to play in the right angles and do the right things, and he's just an all-around great kid.
After rugged football and wrestling seasons, it's time for Adam to have some fun come spring.
I've actually played a different spring sport every year since 9th grade. In 9th grade, I played baseball. 1 year I did track and I pole vaulted and I ran a little bit. And then last year I golfed. This year I plan to play tennis. I just think the spring's kind of a fun time for me. You know, you get to wind down a little bit from the 2 very serious seasons. And
you can't touch this.
He's got plenty of ability and personality, and you have to admit, Hammer's a pretty good name for a linebacker and wrestler.
Can't touch this.
Or musician.
Actually, the announcer, Mr. Houston, he used to say that every time I'd get a tackle. He'd say a tackle by Hammer time, and it's kind of a funny thing, but it's not carried around too much. I just get called Hammer a lot, but sometimes by the teachers and the coaches and everything, yeah, they call me Hammer time a little bit.
And this is a big look. You can't touch. I told you, homeboy.
that's also put on me, you know, at dances and everything. Somebody will go up and request it or whatever and make me dance to it.
Can't touch this.
Adam did become Osceo's all-time leader in wins and placed 6th at the state tournament. He also had a blast as a student photographer during Osceo's state tournament appearances in girls and boys basketball. Well, there is plenty more to come here on the show.
Next up on Sports Jam, we return to winter, but just for a story. Meet the Shippers of Brooklyn Park next. Welcome back to a special edition of Sports Jam. In late January, we met a Brooklyn Park brother and sister who've spent countless hours over many years playing hockey just a few steps from home. Almost any night of the week when the ice is good, you'll find a game here. It's the backyard rink of the Shipper family of Brooklyn Park. Nolan is a senior on the Osseo hockey team, his sister Kate a junior at Breck. And with them are the guys Nolan grew up playing hockey with and still plays with today at Osseo.
I don't think there's anything else that can compare. I mean, growing up with these kids, even before we even started school, playing hockey, and ever since then we've always been together and loving that.
At 5'5", Nolan is one of the smaller high school varsity players around. He's the Orioles' second leading scorer, and while a recent foot injury has slowed him some, he uses speed to compensate for his lack of size.
He just brings leadership and heart and desire just on and off the ice all the time.
He plays with a lot of confidence and he uses his speed. Even though he's short, he's able to get around everyone and make quick maneuvers so that no one can hit him. And he's definitely good at dodging them.
He blocks shots. I mean, he hits guys out there. He does everything that we expect every other player to do. And you know, I think size is somewhat of an advantage for him at sometimes, able to sneak away through checks and get in those tight areas.
Speed is a big part of Kate Shipper's game too. Shipper coming in on a breakaway for Breck. Shipper with a second goal. She's the second leading scorer on a Mustangs team that is ranked #1 in Class A. 7 years of playing boys hockey in Brooklyn Park, plus the time spent with Nolan and his friends, raised the level of her game.
Through boys hockey, everything was always hard work, and trying to be the only girl on the team was always trying to be not the worst one on the team. At the same time, growing up with my brother, I've always had the competition there and always wanted to be better than him. So being better than him would also mean being better than a lot of boys or girls that I've played with.
She brings a skill set that's hardly matched in the state. There's only a few other players, I think, that have the skill set that Kate has. A combination of quick feet, speed, puck handling ability. Her shot release is extremely fast.
She's a really all-around player. She has a lot of speed. She moves the puck well. She shoots well. She gets a lot of goals, so it's really fun to play with her.
Her speed, especially in the off-season, she has worked out to get stronger legs, and when she's on the ice, when she moves her feet, nobody can touch her.
Kate and Nolan's dad, Brian, first put up a rink for his kids 10 years ago. Since then, it's been a place for the Shippers and their friends to have fun after practice, something their coaches don't mind.
Mark Fino and I mean, our Bantam coach, Brad Ferguson, had a big rink in his backyard, and you know, it's played out there all the time. We come and warm up, play Sega NHL 94, and then go back out there and just play. I mean, yeah, not enough of that goes on anymore.
I think she's grown up on the pond, basically, and her skill set proves that. I mean, she's got great puck handling ability. She can handle the puck in a crowd. It shows that she's played outside quite a bit.
While the tight quarters of the Shippers' 40 by 60-foot rink doesn't allow for long rushes with a puck, the space helps the players in other ways.
Definitely our team chemistry kind of comes together better because we learn to work how each other moves around out here. Your hands get better because it's a lot of just stick handling.
Definitely shooting and stick handling, even if it's by myself, just stick handling around pucks or going in and shooting, pretending there's goalie there or making dekes like a shootout.
Their schedules don't always allow it, but both Kate and Nolan try to take in as many of the others' games as possible and help each other out as players.
It's fun to have her around, especially she's around my age as well, so we can compete with each other and we strive to help each other get better.
I try to make it to his games a lot when I can. Obviously the schedule difference is a little tough to make it to all of his games, but every once in a while he'll bring one of his friends to come to my game so he's not by himself with my mom.
It's the final year at Osseo for Nolan and his friends. Come March, the high school season ends, and the spring melt will silence the backyard games at the Shippers.
Definitely miss it. Come home on breaks, definitely try to get out here a few nights.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun. There's so many good memories, and like you said, growing up with all those kids, they're like my brothers, and I'll miss them when they go to college, but at the same time, I know they'll always be able to just stop in whenever they want to play.
Yeah, it'll be pretty touching once the season ends, and knowing that I won't be playing hockey with the same kids since I was 3 years old. So it'll be pretty tough, but you know, when we come back from college, I hope to have my dad have this back up so we can bring back some old memories.
Kate finished the season with 33 goals, 10 of them in the postseason, as the Mustangs won the Class A state championship for the first time. Nolan was slowed down with a foot injury for much of the second half of the year. He finished as Osceo's second leading scorer.
He's gone from young prodigy to experienced veteran in what's already been a good career on the basketball court. In late December, we met Park Center High School junior Quinton Hooker.
The grass isn't always greener for this guy in green and gold. While some have left Park Center behind for higher profile basketball schools, junior Quinton Hooker is a Pirate through and through.
Ever since I was little, I mean, I've always kind of had the loyalty type of thing going on. My parents raised me to be loyal to what I belong to, and being a Pirate, always been in here. Both my sisters went here, and my brother's probably going to go here too, so it's kind of a family thing. Well, since 8th grade, I've always heard that Park Center used to have a history of being good, and that we've been trying to like rebuild, and just knowing that there's been history of being good basketball here, it makes me want to work harder, and I know it makes my teammates want to work harder too.
Quinton's older sisters played for the Pirates too, and his sister Brianna was quite a sharpshooter from three-point range. Maybe just as good or better than him.
I don't know, we'll have to see that. She was a really good shooter though. I tried to get to as many games as I possibly could. Definitely, I was always there, the #1 fan, you know, screaming and hollering for her. Go Bree.
Hooker's been on the Pirates varsity since 8th grade, and he's quietly become one of the best players in the Northwest Suburban Conference, averaging over 25 points per game in their first 5 contests.
I like to be physical. I like to attack the basket. I can shoot. I don't know. Yeah, just play defense, get some rebounds, get some steals.
He's a great player, great person. Everybody at school loves him. Everybody on the team loves him. Great leader, and obviously he's a really good basketball player.
He's probably one of the most underrated players in the state of Minnesota. But what he does bring is he brings leadership, toughness. He's a guy that you can always count on. And he's the type of guy that every coach wants because he does everything you ask him to do. And he's also a very, very good student. So that makes it even better when you got a guy that does what he's supposed to do in the classroom, does what he's supposed to do in the court, and then does what he's supposed to do in the community.
Hooker's traveled extensively with the Howard Pulley basketball program in the summer, and colleges do have him on their radar.
I mean, it's definitely exciting, you know, get all the letters and know that people want you to play for their team, and it's very humbling too, because you know there's a lot of kids out there that would wish to be in your same situation, so it's definitely a great experience. I got offered by North Dakota University, and then being looked at by Nebraska, Northern Iowa, Marquette, South Dakota State, teams like that.
Down the base. Quinton's basketball talents are impressive. He's a leader off the court too.
I'm in the High Achievers program, HAP, and then a leadership conference that the leaders from the Park Center school, like the basketball teams, the football, the track, soccer, and then also other leaders in the school involved in that. And I don't know, I'm kind of here and there all over the school.
Steps back. As an athlete, he's probably biased, but Quinton Hooker has no doubt that sports can bring a school together. He sees it firsthand.
I think it definitely does. The girls winning softball, I mean, it makes every other sport want to work harder because they want to win that state championship. And then just like win these couple games, there's like talk around the school, just like, oh, I have so much like Park Center pride. I'm so proud of Park Center. And you just start hearing that talk. So when people start to see that you're doing good, I mean, I think it like actually helps the school too.
Quinton led the Northwest Suburban Conference in scoring, averaging 26 points per game as the Pirates won 18 games. He was named second team All-Metro by the Star Tribune. More of our Sports Jam Spotlight Flashback show in a moment.
In early February, we met Wayzata basketball player Zach Robertson.
The Trojans junior has carried on a legacy that started more than 3 decades ago. Here's Jason Malillo.
Wayzata's Zach Robertson is consistently one of the best players on the floor for the Trojans.
If you watch him, you might think it looks unspectacular, but to a coach, it's spectacular because it's so consistently high level that, you know, you just can't get that out of many kids in the state.
The 6'4" junior forward has bought into Wayzata's defense-first philosophy, but Robertson gets it done on offense, too. He's averaging more than 19 points a game and has the ability to score from anywhere on the court.
He just is always going to produce what you know he can. You know, you don't have to sit there and wonder, is this going to be a night Zach gets 2 points and 3 rebounds? He's always going to score his fair share of the points. He's going to get his share of the rebounds. He's going to defend a tough player out there and do a good job at that. He's not going to get so emotionally high that the guy, you know, he gets frazzled. He keeps his poise out there. And we count on Zach every night, and he just keeps giving us what we need every night. It's been an amazing year.
Strengths of my game, get into the hoop, defense. My defense really gets my offense going as well, and just play team basketball. I try not to be a selfish player, just as everyone else on our team tries not to be. So team basketball, basically.
Basketball is in Zach Robertson's blood, but this family bleeds blue and gold. Zach is the 4th member of his family to play hoops at Wayzata, joining his father, uncle, and older brother Eric, who starred for the Trojans last season.
I've played against Eric since I was kindergarten, playing one-on-one, everything, and I still text him before every game I talk to him. He knows what team I'm playing before I text him. He gives me tips. He gives me so much advice, and I wouldn't be near as good of a player as I am without him.
Zach and Eric Robertson have continued a family tradition that goes back more than 30 years. Zach and Eric's father, Scott Robertson, played basketball at Wayzata in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Their uncle Brett, Scott's younger brother, played in the mid and late 1980s, graduating in 1989.
First off, I was no player like my 2 boys are. But I was more a little bit like Eric, where I needed the ball, I wanted to handle the ball, I wanted to shoot the ball, I wanted to score. Brett was more about get the ball and do what it takes to win and score and have the ball in your hands more often.
Scott Robertson never got to play high school basketball with his brother, so watching his sons play on the same team was very special.
You have no idea how cool it was. To see these 2 kids grow up and start playing basketball, you know, at the 3rd grade, 4th grade, and then get into organized travel and different leagues like that, you know, on different grade levels. And then when they come to high school and they got to play together for those 2 years, last year and the year before, I mean, it's amazing as a parent to sit there and watch them. And really, that's added a new dimension to their relationship.
There's definitely a sense of pride there. Every once in a while, I try to live up to my family's name, I guess. But it was just more of it was a lot of fun last year and the year before playing with my brother. I've never had more fun playing basketball than I did with him in the last 2 years.
Zach and his teammates burned through their non-conference schedule this winter, posting 16 straight wins, but the Trojans lost to Hopkins in the Lake Conference opener last week. The Lake is stacked this winter with 4 of the 5 teams ranked in the top 10.
Every game's a battle, and it could go, either team could win. But I think this year with our team, we can play with anyone, and I think we can beat everyone in the conference if we play well.
And Zach hopes the rigors of the Lake Conference will get his team ready to make a run in the section tournament. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
Zach led the Trojans in both scoring and rebounding this season. Wayzata lost in the section semifinals to Hopkins. Sports Gem returns in a moment.
It was a great year for the Maple Grove boys hockey team as they qualified for state for the first time in school history. Earlier in the season, we met one of the Crimson's senior captains who led by example on and off the ice. He's like a lot of other kids who have played high school hockey through the years here in Minnesota. Spencer Bell started at a young age.
I remember loving going to the rink every day. It was one of my favorite things to do when I was younger. Spending time out there, I made a lot of friends. A lot of the friends I still have today playing hockey.
Spencer skated his way up through every level in the Osseo Maple Grove Hockey Association and made the high school varsity team 2 years ago as a sophomore. Crimson hockey has been a great experience.
It's been awesome. It's been some of the greatest times I've had. I mean, I spend so much of my time here at the rink and with the guys and everything. We all really have become really good friends, and I really like the team, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
A big physical forward, Spencer is third on the team in scoring. Opponents feel his presence on the ice.
He's a very strong kid. He's a physical kid. I think he leads our team in penalties now, which is not always the greatest. But you know, when you play a game, you get penalties. You know, Spencer's going to pick them up because he plays aggressive. He finishes checks all the time and really goes after it.
Spencer's talent and size make him a player who could play at a higher level.
Toward the front, looks like he's going to shoot. Just skips it across over to number 20, Bell.
You know, number one, when you have good grades, you get a lot of schools out east not looking at you when you're a 4.0 or close to it. So right away, you know, you're on the radar there. And of course, hockey-wise, he does have a lot of talent. He's a big kid. The scouts, you know, I've talked to, you know, they're keeping an eye on him. So
if I wanted to play hockey at a big school, a big hockey school, I think I would have to play some juniors first, get some experience there, and then end up playing at one of those bigger schools.
The question is, will he play in college? Spencer is a straight-A student, taking 4 advanced placement courses right now at Maple Grove. Academics may win out over hockey if he decides to focus solely on his studies.
That's the big debate right now in my life, having to get into the point where I have to make all these decisions and everything, and it's either hockey or academics, and it's really hard to get both, and I'm having a tough time deciding. I applied to the engineering schools and for a major in biomedical engineering, and after that I'm thinking about going to med school, but I haven't made that decision final or anything yet, and I won't have to for a couple years. So coming up, I've just always strived to get the best grade I can in a course, and it just kind of fell in place. School kind of came easy to me when I started getting to high school, and thanks.
Outside of hockey and school, Spencer also gives of his time.
Patient discharge. You're right.
Spencer's volunteered at North Memorial Medical Center in Robbinsdale.
I wanted to volunteer somewhere, and I didn't really know where, and since I had an interest in the medical field, even back then I did, I thought a hospital would be a good place to get some experience and really see what it's all about, see doctors working every day, and get a feel for what the medical community is about. And doing that through volunteering was a great opportunity.
The Crimson carry high expectations for this season. A heartbreaking overtime loss to Blaine in last year's Section 5 AA final left Spencer Bell and the other returning Crimson players wanting more this time around.
Seconds to go on the power play, there it is!
It's a really important goal. We've never been there before, and it would be amazing to get there. And I think the group of guys we have can do it. The state tournament has always been one of my biggest goals for high school hockey. That's always where you want to be, but you gotta take into account the other things too that come with hockey and the other great experiences you get out of it too.
Spencer finished the season with 19 goals and 26 assists. He scored 4 goals in the Crimson's section final rout of Blaine. A terrific season, Jay, for Spencer Bell and for Maple Grove. We got that wish to come true, and really a good season for all these people we featured this week.
Yeah, this has been a kind of an extraordinary winter, I think, for athletes in the area and teams in the area this year. And congratulations to all the people that we just saw and many others that had great seasons as well. Well, that will do it for this week's Sports Jam. Our next show airs the week of April 16th with the first highlights from the spring sports season. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.